Welcome back to the fourth episode of the Asteroid Mining Deck Builder Ultimate Deck Builder tutorial thing that I'm doing here. And today what I want to do is try to pseudo play test where we're at and talk through some changes that might need to be made so that the game works a little bit better. So first off, you can see here that I have the decks updated with what we discussed in the last episode in terms of the amount of cards and the type of cards. You can see we don't have a cockpit here anymore, and I've added in the round trip cards. And so we have like a bunch of cards that we can use. And so what I'm going to do is, and what I've already done, is export them for Tabletop Simulator. So let's go ahead and close that. When you export it for Tabletop Simulator, you get a print sheet basically of 70 cards. And so we're going to import that into Tabletop Simulator so that we can actually use it. It gives both the front and the back, but because we never designed anything yet, this is what the back looks like. So, I mean, it's super pretty, isn't it? So let's go ahead and jump into Tabletop Simulator. And we'll go ahead and go to Create and Single Player. And we'll go to Save and Load. And I did start setting up the Asteroid Mining start here. So let's load that. So this has the starting decks for the game. If you're wondering how you add your cards from the export to this, you just go ahead and go to Objects, Components, Cards, Custom Deck. You place the custom deck down and it'll ask you, hey, what image do you want to use for the face? We're going to do that local. Unique backs. What image do you want to use for the backs? Local. How many cards are there? There's 70 on this sheet. And import. And so now if we take a look at this, you can see that we have a whole nother deck of cards here. And we don't need that right now. So let's see. Can I delete that? Awesome. Okay. So I've already separated out into the two kind of players. We have all the void crystals here to earn. We have the rest of the deck right here. And so we're going to have our ship, which is going to have life support and power and an engine and storage. I'm not sure exactly how that will be lined up for each side, but let's say like that for now. I don't know. Oh my goodness, I wish I could snap to grid or something. I'm sure there is a way. So, and then we have our 20 card starting decks, and so the other player has their ship as well. And I need to shuffle this. I'll just do it a couple times, and I'm gonna flip this over, and I'm gonna shuffle that one as well. I'm gonna flip this over, and I'm gonna shuffle that one as well. I'm not gonna worry about laying out the other player's ship right now. We'll worry about that as we go. And let's start grabbing kind of our store. So we need, I don't know, 7 cards. Does that make sense to everyone? Let me know what you think about the number of cards in the store at the start of the game, if that makes the most sense to you or not. So we're at 1-5. Oops. I just need 1 card. Come on. Can you tell I'm not really well versed at Tabletop Simulator yet? This is actually my first time using it. So what did we end up getting? So let's zoom in here and take a look. A good miner, another good miner, a best gravity shield, a good robot, a best explosive charge, a best engine, and a round trip. Okay. So now if I were to draw my 7 cards, 4, 5, 6, 7, we can see that I got some drills, explosive charges, drills, and round trip. Okay. So if we were basing this off of the rules that we have so far, my turn would basically be to, figure out which ones I want to upgrade to. And I was silly and I didn't actually add the numbers to the cards, so I can never remember the values. So refined is worth 2, so I could get rid of 2 of my drills to get like a good miner or a good robot. I could get rid of some of my explosives. I certainly want to keep my round trip. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we're going to discard 2 drills, and we're going to give ourselves, it doesn't really matter right now because we haven't truly set up the mechanics for dealing with that. We'll also get rid of another 2 drills and maybe get a good robot. And we did decide that the round trips have a precision value, so they are worth 5. I no longer have enough to get 5, so I can't buy that. I could buy another good miner by getting rid of these, and I will. And really, the game should be played in such a way that the store is constantly being refreshed as you're using your cards, so that there's always 7 in the store. That's fine. And then the round trip, I can't do anything with this turn, so it goes into my discard pile. And then the other player would do their turn, and then I would do my turn, and back and forth, right? You can see now that my total deck size is 18. But now I have some improved items. So I have a good miner and a good robot. And I have a round trip. And I have these. Assuming that the store was set up correctly, I would also probably get this good miner, but let's assume that it wasn't there this turn, just for the sake of argument. But I've reduced the number of cards in my deck slightly, but I've given myself better cards. Unfortunately, those better cards don't do anything yet. Come on, stack up nicely. So let's assume that the other player did their turn. So now I'm going to do my turn again. So I have a hand of 7 cards. I have a new thing here. So I'm going to definitely get rid of 2 robots to get a good miner. Oops. See, and I think I might have done that last time. Let me know, or I'll have to replay the footage and then I'll facepalm myself. Get rid of these so that I can have that. Oh, we want to flip another card over here. There's a good engine. That could be useful. So let's go ahead and get rid of those to get a good engine. Reset store. That could be interesting. Is there anything else I can purchase? No. So maybe I will get that reset store as well. And the drill is not valuable enough to get another item. And so we'll assume that the other player did their turn. And now I have 6 cards left. So I will deal those 6 cards to myself. Oh, there it is. Draw. And then we take these and we flip them over and we shuffle them and we grab our last card. Oops. Get back here. Okay. And then we make sure this is correct again. So as you can see, we're quickly reducing the number of cards we have. Because of that, I don't know that we could get up to exotic. I certainly don't know if we can get up to enough exotic things to be able to make the game go. So there has to be some kind of opportunity to earn additional cards. Otherwise, we're gonna, let's just play this out a little further, but I think you can all see what's going to happen. I'm going to spend 5 for precision power, let's say. So 3, 4, 5. And that's going to give me a better power. And then I have a refined and a life support and a round trip. That's not enough to buy anything. So that's problematic. But to install the better power, that's what's going to end up happening. And can't use the round trip this turn and can't use the good robot this turn. So again, we need card effects to make those cards more interesting. So let's again draw 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We only have, I think, 1 card or 2 cards left in the deck. Keep accidentally giving it to people. So there's 1 card left. So again, we've reduced our number of cards by a lot. So maybe we buy the reset store this time. Which, by the way, the reset store should have been refined. I guess I forgot to put it in there. So it's supposed to be worth 2. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have the 2 cards. They go away. We get the reset store. We can't use it right away. We have a reset store as well. So we actually are going to use that. And so this, in my opinion, stays in your deck. And now these cards all get moved off to the side. And we draw, let's put those, a new group of 7 for the store. And we complete our thing here. So we have 2 refined good miners. We have 1 drill. That would be enough to get a precision item. There is a precision better miner there, so let's go ahead and do that. And then we have a round trip, which is not currently useful to us. And as you can see, we're at the point now where if I draw that card and I flip that and shuffle it, draw, we're down to, oops, I need 1 more. 1 card left in the deck. If I get rid of, like if I trade down to another card, I'm only going to have 1 hand of cards basically every round. So this goes to show that we have a bug basically in our game where we are not able to actually complete the full game loop in an effective way. So that's kind of frustrating, right? Now I should note, I do like the idea though of being able to play these to be able to get a refined card if we wanted to. I think the round trip cards are a good idea and they add that extra like crud or like fluff to a deck. I think the reset store also does a good job of that, which by the way is not supposed to be an industrial level card. Yeah, so I think there are some good things here, but I think that we have a fair bit of work to do. So let's go ahead and exit this game. Yes, I want to exit. Hopefully the original decks are still saved because I can do additional like practice play tests. Let's go back into card creator. And let's bring back in our document and spreadsheet. So we need to have more cards in the game so that way there's more things that are happening. So my first thought was, instead of adding even more cards to the game, like we could just like, you know, triple or quadruple all of these numbers, and then we have this like, you know, number of cards that is just, you know, 300, 400, whatever number of cards. It gets to be kind of ridiculous. I don't necessarily think that anyone would want to print that out and make all those cards real. So I really want to kind of keep it to about this number. So then what do? Well, maybe we get rid of the win condition of the store running out of cards. And I say that because then we can take the cards that you're trading up and put them in the store pile. Could that be interesting? One of the hard parts is that in our little playtest we just did, we didn't go through the entire store pile. So it's not like the cards that we were trading in, the industrial level cards would have showed back up again. So that might be an issue to deal with. Also, there has to be a way to keep some of your cards and maybe earn additional cards. So there's that to kind of take into consideration as well, about like, how do we grow your deck? as we work towards trying to upgrade so that we can work towards getting void opals back. So let's remove the store runs out of cards part. So the win condition now is the first player to secure 10 void opals. In my opinion, something like this single way to win the game is less fun sometimes. It also means that the reset the store card isn't as impactful towards a victory condition. So that's kind of a bummer. But I think we need to, like I said, without massively increasing the number of cards available, we need to figure out how we can kind of keep that store like flush so that it can hopefully provide us with more cards so that we can play longer and not have the game break. So we've removed that one win condition. And then the second thing that we need to do is, you know, increase our card draw and increase our deck size. So if we go back to our cards here, we haven't really set up any special effects for our cards. So most cards don't do a lot, right? Robots don't count towards life support, requires the trade of one exotic to acquire, allows you to safely deliver opals back to Earth. Also, oh, I figured it out. The whole idea of the round trip card is the amount of time it takes to get home, and the more cards is kind of the longer amount of time. I think that kind of fits the narrative of what we're trying to do. If you have a mismatched ship, it'll take longer to get back to Earth than back. So I think that's cool. Making the engine better reduces the number of round trip cards you need. Life support supports one human miner at a time. So that's cool. Supports 2, 5, 12. So that is cool. So like we're starting to build up interesting things with the ship. We have the reduce opponent card draw, we have reset the store, and we have replicator. So those are all fine. Those all work in my opinion. So now let's try to think through what we can do with some of these other cards. So maybe the industrial drill doesn't do anything, but maybe the refined drill allows you to draw one additional card. So if you don't trade it in, if you just play it, then you get to draw an additional card. And then the better one, I mean, it draws more. And then the best. So now we have a reason to play, like to get the better drills and to play the better drills rather than just trading. So that's interesting. Also, helping our card draw will hopefully help impact other like positive effects that will build your deck. So what else? I like the idea of maybe allowing it to be where if you use a round trip and you're not bringing a void opal home, that like my company will give you an additional industrial robot. So if there is an industrial robot in the store, I mean, I don't know where we put that yet. We'll have to figure that out. I'm going to put it in the rules here for now. So round trip. So I don't know if this is going to go on the card text as like flavor for the void opal or what, but basically, or sorry, on the round trip. Yeah, on the round trip. Basically, if you play that card and there is an industrial robot available, then you can pick that up and add it to your deck for free. Let's see. So we have that. What else can we do here? The explosive charges. I think what would be kind of fun here is if it multiplied the effects of other cards. I think that could be kind of fun. So if you used a refined explosive charge, like you just played it, you didn't trade it, with a like good drill, then you could draw 2 cards, maybe all the way up to like, if this is like 4 times, then you would draw 12 additional cards if you could play those together. So now the game is starting to move faster. You have more options. That could be kind of interesting. And so let's go ahead and do that. So now if we play these two cards together, right, we can, instead of just drawing one card, we draw two. If we had this one and this one, we draw 3, 4, 4, 6, 8, 6, 9, 12. So like you could have a massive hand if you had an exotic drill and an exotic explosive charge. That's kind of neat. Miners, we still need to figure out what we're going to do with them. Gravity sleds, we need to figure out what we're going to do with them. Storage, we already know what storage does. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in. Okay, so now we have a reason to upgrade your storage. What we're missing is a reason for power. And I was thinking that maybe power also manages drills or robots. Maybe drills, because we already know what the effect is. I think we still need to figure out what the effect for robots and miners are going to be, and I'm not exactly sure on that yet. And I also think one of the things that we'll need to do, so if we're discarding or upgrading and those items go back into the store, then the store should be shuffled more often, because we need more opportunities to hopefully have these cheaper cards elevate or percolate up in the deck. So that way, when you have, you know, the free opportunity to get a card using round trip, that might be good. For miners, maybe miners can get free drills from the store. So let's go ahead and add that in as a card effect. So now upgraded miners have an opportunity to provide you with additional things in your deck. So to grow your deck, you have miners and you have round trips. And so that starts helping you get additional cards, ideally basic cards that you can then use to upgrade to additional cards. I don't know if this is the right way to do it, because I don't know that it will stack well, because I mean, at some point what's going to happen, right, is assuming you're going to have like a precision miner and you're going to play it almost every turn, and you're going to be acquiring additional drills, hopefully, and those drills will allow you to draw additional cards, which will allow you to get your miner back, and so on and so forth, in hopes of like speeding up your ability to get additional cards. I don't know what robot should do yet. I'm just not sure. I don't know what gravity sled should do yet. One of the things that I thought is, how can we reduce the number of cards you have to trade in to get that next level up? We already actually kind of built that into the game without realizing it a little bit. An exotic card being a point value of 12 really means that you just need 2 precision and 1 refine to get an exotic, rather than 3 precision. You could also spend 3 precision if that's what you pull, like what you draw. Or you could spend, you know, 2 precision and 2 industrial, or some combination therein. So that's an opportunity potentially that makes things a little bit more interesting. Like 6 refined for some reason. So there is that option. I still think one of the issues that we have is there's actually not enough industrial starting cards. Even if we're shuffling in, because of the size of the deck, we're drawing 5% basically, not even. Let's get all of that stuff out there. What are we drawing? 116, and we're drawing 7 as a shop. It might work. People might get stuck, but we do have the redraw the store. I don't know. This is an often found wall in the creative process of trying to work through these kinds of issues, trying to figure out what you need to do to balance things. One of the things that I was thinking about, and I don't know if it's a good idea or not, is, you know, what if you combined the same level of robot and drill and gravity sled together, right? Those are all refined. If you could trade in one of each of those in a single turn, what if we considered that the equivalent of trading in 4 cards of that value? Helps you upgrade without turning in so many cards. It'd be a super rare thing to do. And where would you put that on the card text? I mean, we don't want card text that's a book, right? I mean, this is really ugly right now. I don't want it to be that long when it's done. This is getting kind of ugly. So I don't know if that's the right way to do it. But I like the idea of gravity sleds basically reducing the card cost. I think that's kind of interesting. Like if you could turn in an industrial gravity sled. I mean, we also have the explosive charges. I just don't know. I mean, the industrial gravity sled should do nothing, right? The starting cards shouldn't have any special abilities. They're hopefully to allow you to work your way towards your personal optimal deck, right? Maybe you don't want miners because you know that you're going to have to deal with life support and you don't want to do that. So there's different roads that you can go down already. But we need to figure out gravity sleds, and we need to figure out if, how we're going to do power, and if we have enough opportunities to draw additional cards into our deck, which would be used to condense down, right? Because right now we can get drills, and then we could use round trips. I think power should limit all of these, maybe. So how many of them have card effects that work that turn? Would that be interesting? So at first you can only use one. Like if you bought 2 refined robots, I mean, that's not so interesting right now. 2 refined drills, you wouldn't get your additional card draw on your second one because you don't have enough power to support it. How do we feel about that? And what else can we do with the robot miners to make them interesting? What other card draws can we do? And do we have enough cards to make this work? Is there anything that we could get rid of that would open up more of a type of card that would make this more interesting? Like maybe do we need to get rid of gravity sleds completely? And then we have another 12 cards that we can distribute into drills, robots, miners, and ship components. And explosive charges. I feel like this, like reducing the number of types of cards can kind of feel a little limiting in this kind of situation. So I guess my next question is like, how many cards are in a deck, like a box set of Pokemon, for example? Yeah, see, so like the base set had 102 cards. The base set 2 had 130 cards. So the Dominion base card set includes 250 cards. How do we feel about increasing this then? Does that make more sense? Would that be more interesting? I still think we should do what I mentioned with the power. So let's do that first and we'll think about our next step. So now we have a limit for power. So when you only have the industrial power, the card effects from powered items are limited to 1. And so now we also need to make sure that we deal with, you know, powered versus unpowered. So miners are unpowered, of course. I know that might seem weird, but they are humans, and even though they do have like spacesuits, we're going to consider them unpowered. Robots, drills are going to be powered. Explosive charges we're going to say are unpowered, and gravity sleds we're going to say are powered. So let's go ahead and add that in. Now, of course, because the industrial cards don't have any special ability really, we don't need to worry about the fact that they're powered, but we will list them on there just for consistency's sake. I like the idea that miners and explosive charges are unpowered, because I think that will be interesting to, you know, make people focus in on getting explosive charges to multiply their card effects. And I think for the most part, we have a pretty good setup here. We will need to still figure out what the heck gravity sleds do other than just existing. We still will need to figure out what robots do other than not counting against life support. I like the idea that this allows you to get a free industrial drill from the store if available. I like that this allows you to get an industrial drill from the shop available. Actually, let's make this robot. Industrial robot. So you get a robot if you go back to Earth without any opals. They're like, hey, you must need more help. Let's give you more help. And so if there is one in the store, then you can get it. So again, it makes me still feel like we need more robots and more drills in the game. But it kind of starts watering down everything else. But we also need some kind of card draw mechanics, or else you're going to run into the issue that I showed you in Card Creator. So now that we have these pieces and we know kind of what we're doing, we haven't done any flavor text for any of them. I think the flavor text will typically go on the industrial level cards, because they don't have any actual card effects, and flavor text and card effects can be a little bit difficult unless you have like a really good iconography to use, and I don't know that I do. So yeah, I'm going to quickly update the card creator with some of these details, and then maybe we can try to figure out some design elements today. That might be fun. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we've added our card effects to the cards. And you can see here that I moved round trip into this blueprint because I knew it was going to have card text on it. I was able to turn off the indicator about the value. I think what I will do next is actually change those letters to numbers, and then I will actually still do like the colored frames for each value, just to kind of make it a little bit easier and more visually appealing. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that next. Okay, so the next interesting thing that we could decide would be how we want to determine the rarity colors. By default, I think most people would do kind of the normal rarity that you'd see in a lot of video games, you know, gray for common, maybe green for uncommon, or maybe blue or rare, you know, and kind of like each of these cards would have a different color border for them. What do you think the colors should be for rarity for a mining game? What makes sense? I don't know. Like, if we work backwards, if we assume that exotic is like a gold color, do we do like silver, bronze, and gray? Does that make sense? Do we do like different materials? How do we feel about something like this? Does the blue and green need to be switched? Does it make sense to use gray for the basic cards? Does it make sense to use kind of like a golden color for the most expensive cards? How do we want these to be set up? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I would be super interested. Um, I think for now, I will maybe set them to that so that it's just easier to identify in the tabletop simulator. I also think that we have an issue here where we have these spaceship components, but we actually haven't put in the special effects for the spaceship components. So I think I'll edit this blueprint to allow for, you know, the rules for that. I think I want to keep these separate though, because I might do different design elements. And so I'll want different blueprints for them. But you can see here that we have all of our numbers in, so it's very easy now to tell the value of things and what's the same and what the math is and stuff like that. Yeah, I think I'll do the colors and maybe update the ship components as well, just so we can have a better time when we're playtesting. Okay, so we've added in those colors and we've added in the additional rules. You can see here that we still don't have anything for the gravity sled. We also, I noticed, have an interesting issue with life support. So if you can see here, we have life support options to support up to 5 miners and 12 miners, but we've built a game that only has 2 starting miners total. I mean, even if you traded up and you got all of these, that'd be 8. I guess it's more than 5. If you could acquire all the miners, you would have 10 miners. So you'd need an exotic life support. Okay, that's fine. So in this episode, we tried to work through some issues by doing like a quick mock playtest. We adjusted some of the parameters of the cards to make it a more interesting game. We went ahead and updated some of the design elements in card creators so that way we can do an updated mock playtest in Tabletop Simulator. And so next time I'm going to basically do that mock playtest in Tabletop Simulator, see if there's any more card adjustments that need to be made, and then continue to work on figuring out how we want to lay out the cards and have the design and things like that. And then once I have kind of like a true full V1 where my mock playtests are going well, then I'll actually print them out, cut them out, and play it with other people in my family and in my life to try to figure out if this game is 1, fun, and 2, actually working. So thanks for watching, and I hope you'll stick around and see how things progress from here.